Okay, so in last class, I think we completed the list and we also completed tuple as well. Okay, so let's move ahead to one more thing. Okay, so our next topic today is our sets. This next data structure is known as a set. And this set is very much like that you study in the mathematics. I repeat once again, it is very much like the set theory that you study in the mathematics is very much like that. So what is a set? The things come. What is a set? So remember, a set is a set is a unordered, unordered collection of unique elements. I'm repeating once again. Please read each word carefully. A set is unordered collections. A set is an unordered collection of unique elements. So these two words are very important. Unordered collection and second, unique elements. These two are the main thing that you should remember while talking about the sets. Means one, it will have unique elements. Means no element will be repeated. And second, unordered collection is there. Unordered collection means in the other thing like tuple or a string or a list, we were able to access those elements by knowing their index. Means suppose there is a list 1, 2, 3, and the name is X, and somebody asked me, please give me the first element of the list. Then how will I do? I will simply do X colon bracket 0. I was able to do that. If somebody gave me a string, so I was able to access that. Somebody gave me a tuple, I was able to access that. Why? The reason is simple. Why reason is simple? Because they support what they support. They support indexing, but set doesn't support index. I hope it is okay with everyone. Please tell me, is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So remember, but it will consist of always unique elements and unordered collections. So no indexing will be there. It may be possible you create a set in a particular order. And next time you are using it, the order is changed. You never know. You never know. So there are different ways of creating sets. How? The first way, for example, I have a list. Let's say the list name is numbers. List name is number, and it is consisting of numbers 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4. Okay. But what I want to convert it into the set. I want to convert it into the set. Why I will like to convert it? Because sometimes it may be my requirements. For example, let me give you a use case. I have two lists, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And there is one more list, let's say having element 2, 3, 6, and 7. Okay. And somebody asked me, there is a list L1 and there is list L2. Okay. Something like that. Okay. Or it is having repeating elements, level 2, 3, 4, 5. Some elements are repeating 2, 3 again. And here also some elements are repeating like 6 and 7. Okay. This is the use case, suppose. And somebody asked me, tell me how many elements are common among these two lists? How many elements are common among these two lists? Okay, so I have to compare. Means example, one way is to compare this with this with this with this with this with this with this. Then move here, this with this. It is going to take a lot of time. Not a recommended method. Understand what our requirement is. Our requirement is to find the common elements. Okay, our requirement is to find out a common element, just to find out, not the location, not the position. We want to find out the common location. So first thing what we can do, first we want to do, we want to first found a common element. So we can see here few terms are repeating, 2, 3, 2, 3. If they are repeating, doesn't matter what is asked to me. It is asked to me find common elements. So if 2 is coming 2 times, doesn't matter to me. Why I need to compare? So first I want unique element out of the list. So those will become 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Dropping these 2 and 3. Similarly, in this list, 2, 3, 6, and 7, 6 and 7 are repeating. 2, 3, 6, and 7. Okay. So how can we drop duplicate elements? So who has the power of dropping the duplicate elements automatically? which has the power? Set. Are you remember the use case? Remember, always remember, whenever you have any element which are repeating, okay, or duplicate elements, and you want to remove them, then you need unique series of elements or unique sequence of elements. Then you have to go for set. Set will do that thing for you. And you can convert it back again, back to list. Suppose somebody simple says, please, I want only unique element in this list. Please do that. I can do that in a fraction of seconds. Instead of writing any loop or something like that, let me show you practically. Let me show you that practically. Okay. Suppose I have a list, again, same list, I'm typing L, known as 1, 2, 3, again repeating 2, 3, 4, 5. So here two elements are repeating. Which one? 2 and 3. Within a fraction of seconds, you will see that within fraction of seconds, I can check. I can convert back to the list. What is my output requirement? My requirement is this. I want this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have to remove duplicate elements. So let me run that. How can I do that? See, convert that into a set. Convert that into a set. Suppose I said the set is S. So how can I convert this into a set? By using the keyword set. Very much like we were using the keyword list, we are using the keyword set and pass L to this. Okay, pass L to this. Done. Once you are done with that, simply whatever your set is, use the keywords list. Simple, and pass set to that and see the magic, please. And you want to see what is my L, so I will print that in the next line. No issue. So I'm printing L again. See, your duplicate elements have gone very quickly, very quickly. Otherwise, you would have chosen any other or other methods are there. You can use them by using looping or something, finding duplicates and removing them. You can do that. But sets give you an immense power of doing that quickly. What the use case? Please tell me. Is it fine, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is first use case, means to remove the duplicate elements, you will use our set. We need unique elements of that. Now, how can we create? So one method we already know by using the keyword set. If I have an iterable, I can put set to that. I can put set to that. For example, I have a, let me create a set once more. I have a string. I have a string is a iterable. Everyone knows. Please remove, mute yourself. Somebody's unmuted. Thank you. Okay. So this is suppose a string. I want to convert it into the set. And when it will be converted into the set, you know, the duplicate elements will be removed. The string is an iterable, remember? So what I am doing, I am passing this to a set. Let set handle this. Okay. And suppose I'm again making is a set S. Let me run this. So what will happen? See, I'm having alphabets. Those are unique. E was appearing twice in this. And E has gone. And now see the order, please. That is the main important. How I pass it to the list. P first, R, then A, then B, E, R, and how it is presenting to me. Can you check it? So no order is there. That you have to be unsure of it. No order is there. I hope it's clear. So one way of creating set is by using the keyword set on any iterable. Just pass any iterable and use the keyword set. That will do that. Another way of creating set is one more thing by using curly braces like this. Within these curly braces, whatever you want to write, whatever you want to write. For example, I type 1, 2, 3, 4, or you want to write a mixed data type. Suppose my name, I type P, okay, something like that. And then again, I'm repeating few alphabets, 2, 3. Okay, so when this set will be created, although I put 2 and 3 twice, once here, while creating sets, then what is going to happen? It is going to remove duplicates. Remember, that is the main condition. So I'm running this and you can check the S. Please check it. The duplicates have been removed. Please tell me any doubt in this point? Any doubt? Even a single one, then please tell me. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now moving ahead. So we got an idea what is set, what are the use cases of the set, okay, and how we create S. Now every set is there, so there are different functions or different methods that you can apply on the set. For example, by using operators only. By using an operator, let me create a S set S1, and suppose S1 is having element like this. Suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, again 1, 2. It will revive 1 and 2, so I will have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I have one more set S2. Okay, one more set is there, and it is having element, let's say 2, 3, 5, 6, or even create more 2, 3, doesn't matter. But when I will create them, then S1 will have the value 1, 2, 3, 4, because these 1, 2 are duplicates, so not be put it there. And while I will create this, it will keep only 2, 3, 5, 6. This 2, 3 will be removed. So let me run that and check S1. First of all, what is S1? Okay, S1 is having 1, 2, 3, 4, all unique entries, and S2, second unique entries. So these are two sets. When we have two sets, understand, when we have two sets, we can perform all the operations that we can perform on the set theory. Okay, whatever we want to perform. For example, what I want to do, I want to do print of, see properly, please, see properly, union of these two. Union of these two sets. Remember, these are the actions, union, intersection, if you can recall. In the set theory, we do study that thing, union and intersection. So we can do union of these. For example, S1. And for the union symbol, there is a symbol known as pipe, which is above the enter. Okay, just the key is there, just above the enter, on that pipe is there, and S2. So what it will create? It will create union of these two. Can anybody tell me what will be the output if we create union of S1 and S2?
The output will
1, 2,
show
3, 4, 5,
yes.
6.
Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let me run that perfectly. Please check it. Okay. Similarly, what I can do, this is union. This is the thing I did known as union. Now suppose I want to do intersection. I want to do intersection. For the intersection, there is a symbol known as ampersand, which is just above your 7 digit, on the 7 digit itself. So ampersand sign is there, this one. What it will do? Hash intersection it will do. Okay, it will do intersection for you. Done. Right? So only with intersection means common elements. Simple, common elements. So in S1, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. In S2, we have 2, 3, 5, 6. Which elements are common? 2, 3, 2, 3. Is it fine, everyone? Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, what we can do, again, I'm taking one more. Going here, and instead of ampersand, I'm taking caret, and that caret is where it is. Caret is above 6. Caret is above 6. What it does? It does symmetric difference. Symmetric difference. Let me run it and you'll see the answer itself. See properly what it is giving. S1 is 1, 2, 3, 4. S2 is 2, 3, 5, 6. So what it will give? It will give me uncommon elements. For the common elements, you will go with intersection. For the uncommon elements, means which are not common in both of these. So uncommon are what? 1 is not here. 2 is here, the 2 will not be counted. 3 is here, will not be counted. 4 is not there, will be counted. And 5, 6 are not there. So what I'm getting? 1, 4, 5, 6. So it will be available here. I hope it is okay with everyone. Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, we can do simple difference as well. For example, a simple difference we can do here. Simple difference, nothing but that. You can put a minus sign and run this. Can you see? A simple difference. So what it will take, you can understand that that is 1, 2, 3, 4 is there. 2, 3, 5, 6 is there. Okay. So it will take S1, whatever elements in S1 are. And if these elements are available in S2 as well, then what it will do, it will remove those elements. I remember what is we are doing? We are doing S1 minus S2. So whatever elements in S1 we are having, if any of those element is available in the S2 as well, so that element will be removed. That element will be removed. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So output will be decided by S1 only. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So any element which is available in the S2, yes, 2 and 3. So these elements will be removed. So we will receive 1 and 4. Is it okay, everyone? Please tell me.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Perfect. Perfect. Now moving ahead. Now see properly. Suppose I want to check. I want to check that my corresponding element is present in the set or not. My corresponding element is present in the set or sorry, set or not. Then I don't know the index, right? Because index doesn't work here. Everyone knows index doesn't work here because it is unordered collection. Index doesn't work here. So how can I do? Same way, the way we were doing in the list or we were doing in the tuple, easily we can do that. How? By using in statement. So what you have to do, suppose you want to search for an element, let's say 1. You want to search for an element that 1 is present in my set or not. 1 is present in my set or not. So what I will type 1 in. If 1 in your set, that is S, just print yes or whatever you want to print, present. We cannot know the index. The reason it is unordered collection, but at least we can know it is present or not. My given number is present in the set or not. That's what I wanted to know only. So we can do that with the help of if 1 in S to check the presence of an element. Okay, let me run it. As we know, 1 is already present in the S. Where is my S? Sorry, S1 is there. This is S1 or whatever you have taken. Suppose I'm considering S1 now for now. So if 1 is present in the S1, let me run this. It is showing present. If I look for a number which is not there, nothing will happen. I hope it is okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, everyone, should I move ahead? Okay, so suppose I'm again printing S1 here, and S1 is for now example 1, 2, 3, 4. There are different things that you can do in S1. You can add elements, you can remove elements. I repeat again, you can add elements to the set, you can remove elements from the set. So tell me, it is mutable or immutable? I can add elements, I can delete elements. It is mutable, huh?
Mutable.
Yes, it's immutable. Remember, okay? So still now we have encountered two things which are immutable, which are known as immutable. One
String
we
and
yes, string
tuple
and
and tuple.
yes, string
Tuple.
and tuples. Yes, string and tuples. So remember the use cases when we want to use what thing. Okay. So suppose S1 is there. So for every data structure or data type, there are some predefined functions which we call as methods. So S1 also has means S1 is a set. So it also has several methods that you can perform upon. For example, I tap S1 dot, and suppose I want to add an element to this. So I'll type A, D, T. If you want to know different methods, simply how to go that. Just type dot, press tab, and it will show you different methods which are available, which you can explore easily. No problem with that. And all these are simple, nothing but your intersection theory. Sorry, intersection. I'm saying set theory. The same thing that you get in the set theory, same thing is available here. All the same, as I said in the beginning itself, as the set. So all the mathematical operation that we think in the set theory are available here. For example, I want to add an element number 5. I want to add element number 5 to the set. Let me run this simple part add and put the element that I want to add. Let me check the S1. Yes, 5 has been added, right? But don't consider that it will be put it always at the last time, not mandatory. It can be put at any index because it is not indexed element. Okay. Similarly, suppose I want to remove an element, s dot remove. Then you will use s dot remove. I want to remove an element. This is for adding an element, adding an element. And similarly, this is for removing an element. Okay. But be cautious while you're using remove. For example, I pass 5 to this. Okay, 5 is present, no issue. It will do that. Let me check S1. Okay. Now do one thing. Again, do S1 dot remove. Now pass an element which is not present here. Let's say 6. Again 5, because 5 has been removed. Anything you can put here. Doesn't matter. Run the cell. See, it's showing key error. It's showing key error. So sometimes you don't want your program to halt. You don't want a program to halt, because what will happen? The code run in sequence. So suppose my program is halted here, further instructions won't be executed. So they have dealt with that. There is another method, because S1, if element is not present, will show a key error, right? There is another method known as discard.
Sir,
Yeah, please.
can we add multiple elements
Yes, I'm
at
coming to
the
that. Don't
same
worry.
time?
Yes, I'm coming. I'm coming. Just give me 2 minutes only, right? So S1
Yes.
dot discard, right? Discard, what will discard will do? Discard, take an element, for example, which is not available here, like 6. Let me do that. See, done. Nothing happens. 6 is not there. Nothing will happen. No problem with that. Okay. You can go inside and then discard as well. And you can run simple. Remove an element from the set if it is a member. Understand properly. Remove an element from a set if it is a member. And if the element is not a member, do nothing. So at least you are sure, that your program is not going to be halted. Is it fine? So understand the use case, please. That's very important. Understand the use case means when you want to use a remove and when you want to use a discard. You want system to terminate or system to halt, use remove. And you don't want the system to terminate or your program to halt. You want the execution to begin, use discard. It will move immediately next time. Is it fine, everyone? Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so understand the use case, right? So what happens in this case? In the remove, if element is not present, always when you're using, I recommend go inside the bracket, press shift tab and read its definition. It will show you everything. Remove an element from a set if it is a member. If the element is not a member, raise a key error, right? So it is mentioned there. Always see the definition of that. So you got, if element is not there, will raise key error. Okay. And what will happen in case of discard? Will not do anything. That's it. Okay. So moving ahead. As per the requirement, somebody said, can we add multiple elements? So let me check first of all, what is S1? Okay. S1 is 1, 2, 3, 4. So suppose I want to add multiple element to the S1. I want to add multiple elements. So how can I do that? There is a method known as S1 dot update method. Okay. In an update, put all the elements in an iterable which you want to take inside the S1. Okay. Any elements you want to push inside the S1, make them in a iterable. For example, I want to add 5, 6, and 7. So I made an iterable. Iterable can be anything. For example, I made 5, 6, and 7. Okay. I take up a list. List is an iterable, right? So I put an iterable. And now see, once I do that, check S1, please. I hope your problem is satisfied. Somebody asked.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can do that. You have to pass an iterable. Okay. So if you have multiple elements, group them in an iterable and pass them. It will be doing for you. Okay. Similarly, there are other methods, for example, but I will use one method is there, which I will use later on, or let me do that. There is one more method. Suppose I want to delete all the elements from this set, all the elements at one go. Then what I will do, I will type s1 dot clear, as simple as that. But before executing it, please read the definition. See, remove all the elements from this set. Remove all the elements from this set. Okay, is it fine? So let me run this. So let me check S7 again. S1 is an empty set. Nothing is there. So let me create one more S1 equals to, let me copy it from here itself. Okay. And let me take one more. S2 is also there, I guess. We created an S2, 2356. Let me take it. Okay. And let me rerun these after creating S1 and S2. Let me explore few more methods of set. Okay, few more methods of set so that you can idea. Suppose there is a method known as S1, for example, S1 dot difference update. Okay, difference, everyone knows what it will do. Don't worry. If you don't know, don't worry. Go here, press tab, shift and tab, sorry. Shift and tab, see what it said? Returns the difference of two or more sets as a new set. Okay, means what it will do if I pass S2 inside this. So it will create S1 minus S2, means difference of those. Okay, and S1 will remain as it is, S2 will remain as it is. It will return it as a new set, which you can store anywhere. Suppose I set as new set, new S. So let me run this and you can check news, new S. See, so what has happened? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These elements are common, so these are removed. I hope it is fine. The same thing that we were doing here, if you see here, we did it by the expression. Okay. Now there is one more thing. It was returning a new set. Suppose I don't want to return a new set. I want to update. I want to update my original one. So I would type S1 dot difference. Sorry, difference update. Okay. Now read this definition. Remove all the elements of another set from this set. Got an idea? Remove all the elements of another set from this set. So what will happen? 2, 3, 5, 6 will be removed from this, and S1 now will become only 1 and 7. So let me put S2 here and check. S1 will now, because it is doing difference update, it was only difference, so it was returning a new set. It is updating the S1 itself. So let me check S1. So all the different elements that 2, 3, 5, 6, 2, 3, 5, and 6 have been removed, and remaining 1, 4, and 7 are available here. I hope it is okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, same thing like we did with the help of caret. There is option of doing by this way also. Let me again copy these so that we can understand better. Run. I'm moving here, and let me type again S1 dot symmetric difference. Okay, same way they see, we have difference and difference update. We have symmetric difference and difference update. So two options are there. Can you see? Same way, means update the original set, then update. Want to return new, use this one. Okay, let's read its definition again. See, returns all the symmetric difference of two sets as a new set. So I'm putting S2 here. So what it will give? It will give me, remember what was a symmetric difference? What was symmetric difference? Remember anyone? We did it with the help of caret. Here, if I'm correct, we did it. Yeah, this is. So what is suggest for? Uncommon elements. Remember? Uncommon elements. Uncommon elements, right? So it will return. So let me save it somewhere else. Suppose Sn is the name of that. So it should have uncommon elements. So what are the uncommon elements? 2, 3, 5, 6 are here. 2, 3, 5, 6 are common. So only 1, 4, and 7 will be written as the Sn. So let me run that. Is it fine, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
I hope now you can easily understand what set does. Whenever you want to explore any new function, although we have done 7 to 8 functions out of those, doesn't matter. If you want to explore any new operation, just go, press dot, shift tab, and see and read its definition. Easily you will be able to do that, right? So there is one more category of set known as frozen set. There is one more category of set which is known as frozen set. So what is the difference between your normal set and frozen set? You see, in the set, we were able to update the things, we were able to add and remove the elements. Suppose I want to freeze it. I want to freeze it. I want to make it, for example, immutable. I don't want it to be changed. Then you have to use frozen set. Don't want it to be updated, then make it as a frozen set. Okay, means elements cannot be modified. As simple as that. So how can I do that? Suppose I have a set here itself known as S1. So let me check S1 again. S1 is this. I want to convert it into the frozen set. Okay, so I type frozen is equal to let me press Z E press tab. Automatically it's telling me frozen set. Okay. Just pass S1 to that. Just part S1 to that. So this set will convert into the frozen set. Run this. Go to the word frozen. And check it. It's clearly mentioned as a frozen set. Okay. And if I want to do something to it, let me see frozen dot. See, there is no thing available like update, remove. Can you see anything like that? Basic set operations are there, but not like update, remove, or delete, add, something like this. This is not available here. Are you getting my point or not? Right? So can you
Yes.
tell me, we haven't used them. Can anyone tell me what is subset and superset? You know that or not? Please tell me.
No, sir.
You don't know subset and superset?
Subset is a part of a set.
Yes, exactly. And superset is opposite of that, right? The bigger one is your superset. Bigger one is your superset. For example, if you don't know that, don't worry. And one more thing, let me finish the frozen set first of all. Okay. Other way of creating frozen set is simple. Suppose I have an iterable like my name itself or a list, whatever it is. Suppose I create name as I type frozen. I don't have ready-made set with me. So I type frozen set. Okay. And inside this, I pass my name. Any iterable can be passed. I pass an iterable known as Pratik. So it will treat the same way the set is doing. Just type it and check S. Right? So what it did, very much like set theory only, but you might like your original set, your P, R, A, which are not repeating, will be coming here. E, which is repeating 2 times, only E will be coming here, 1 E will be removed, and it is frozen. I hope you get an idea what is frozen set and what is set. Whose element cannot be modified will be your, whose elements cannot be modified will be your
Frozen set.
Frozen
yes.
set.
Okay. Now the person who doesn't know, no issue if you don't know, that happens several times. Suppose I have a set S1 and which is element 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And there is a set known as S2, which is element like 2, 3, 4. Okay. So among S1 or S2, if I want to check that S2 is a subset of S1 or not, I want to check S2 is a subset of S1. So definitely we can say it is yes or no. It is derived from this only. 2, 3, 4. S1 is a bigger set. S1 is a bigger set and S2 has having some elements of this only. So definitely we can say S2 is subset of this. Okay, for example, I want to check it. Let me run this. S2 dot, what is not coming, is subset. Okay, is subset of what we want to check? S1. If this condition becomes true, of course, it should return a Boolean value. That is true. Let me run this. Can you check it?
Yes, sir.
Is it fine? Similarly, what is superset? What is superset? If I want to check, S1 is a superset of S2. S1 means it is the father, for example. It is the child. I want to check this one. So of course, it is having these elements plus more elements. So we can say it is a superset. If I want to check that S1 is superset of S2. Let me run this. Answer should be true. But if we try opposite way, S2 is superset of S1. Should return false. Is it okay? The person who is asking, is it okay, everyone? Please now tell me. No issue with that. If it happens with everyone doesn't remembers everything. Subset and superset is clear?
Yes, sir.
Subset and superset, please. You can be honest, doesn't matter. If I have to repeat
Yes,
again,
sir.
I don't mind. I don't mind repeating. Your understanding is prime key for me. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I'm
Yes,
giving
sir.
I'm giving you just 2 minutes to solve a problem. And the problem is this. As I told you in the beginning, there is a list known as L1, whose elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. Example. Okay. And there is one more list, let's say L2, and which is having elements 2, 3, 6, and 7. Okay. You have to return me a list of only common elements between these two. Can you do that? What the task? What is the task? Find out the common element of these two lists and put them in a list. This is your task. Hint is that with the sets you can do it within 2 to 3 lines, not more than that. Within 2 to 3 lines max. And you will find such kind of question, especially if somebody is hosting your job interview or job examination. Okay, and they want to know how much well you know the Python, how much depth you have studied in. So they will give you this kind of question. The person who is new to or not an experience in the set theory, he will keep devoting. He will compare 2 with 1, then 2 with 2, then 2 with 3, 2 with 4, 2 with 2, 2 with 3. If find it common, it will append to the list. Again, it will be the next element, append to the list. That can be done for sure. But the for loop also you can do that. The for loop also you can do the same task. But I don't want right now for the for loop. I want it with the set theory. I'm waiting for 2 minutes, right? And tell me once done, please.
Done, sir.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Others, please. I've received the response of one person only. I need answers from others. I've checked then on the Friday, very less people are there. They enjoy weekend or something like that. Last time also, on the Friday, there were less people. This time also. Others, please.
Yes, sir.
Done?
Done, sir.
Good.
Done, sir.
Very good. 3 people. Others?
Done.
Very good. 4. Others?
Done, sir.
Very good. I hope it is done now. So can you tell me what should I do, please? And those who have not done or not trying to do, see at least how it can be done. It can be done very, very, very easily. Please tell me what you have done. Tell me what you have done. Anyone can tell me how you have done this.
First, we need to change from list to sets.
Okay. So suppose S1 is my new set. Okay.
S1 equal to set
So
of
set of
L1.
L1. Yes. Set of L1. Perfect.
Then set
Then
2 equal to set of L2.
set of L2. Very good. This has been done. Next.
Then print set S1 dot intersection S2.
Why we need print? We need list now. Remember,
Oh,
we need
then
list.
list of S1 dot intersection S2.
Yes.
L
This
equal
is fine.
to
We can create a new list. Let's say L, right?
L equal to
list of S1
dot intersection of S2.
You can do that, or you can use that ampersand as well, right? It does the same task, or you can do S1 dot intersection as well. It's entirely up to you. Okay. So S1 ampersand S2. Let me run this. Let me check. L. Yeah, fine. So only 2 and 3 are common. So we are getting that. So how quickly that you can do that? See how quickly. This is the best way. Means you have to just understand. Means a programmer or if you're an engineer, always think that way. Application, because we already study physics in class 12, 11, 12, 9, 10. But how engineers should be different? They should be different. Means all those KCL and KVL you are going to study in the BTech, right or wrong? Again, same thing. Again, you study KCL and KVL, but try to understand how to apply, where to apply. Theory already has been proposed. This is the difference between scientists and engineers only, right? They give laws, theories, and we engineers are the most smartest person in the world. Why? We know how to use them. This is the biggest, right? So let's move ahead now. I think it is done. Everyone, I don't think so. There should be any doubt. Any doubt anyone is having?
No, sir.
Okay. So I'm moving ahead. These two list and store result in the list L. Okay, fine. So next, I'm moving to the next topic, and this next topic is your dictionaries. Okay, dictionary. Again, our next data structure, which is a dictionary, and sometimes people call it as mapping data type. Sometimes people call it as a mapping data type. Mapping data type as well. Okay. So what is a dictionary? Nothing but a dictionary is a collection of key value pairs. Key value pairs. Take an example. Take an example. You just opened a grocery shop. Okay, a big grocery store or a supermarket, something like that. Okay, in which you have thousands and thousands of products with you. Okay, you have a grocery store or and which has thousands and thousands of products with you, and somebody comes to you with a product, and unfortunately right now you don't have a barcode scanner or something like that. You just opened and you don't have, unfortunately the vendor has not delivered you the barcode scanner, so you don't have a barcode scanner. You have a system with you and you don't know the what is the actual cost of that product. Then how you do you say, for example, you will open your system and type, for example, he has bought a mango and you don't know what is the price. So what you will do, you will type mango. That the moment you will type the mango, okay, it will show you what is the price of that mango. Okay, you search by the term mango and it will tell you what is the price of that, right? Similarly, in your dictionary also, the pocket dictionary we used to own in our childhood, when we were in 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, people used to tell, please have a dictionary all the time with you. So we have a that dictionary available with me. And somebody said me, please look after the meaning of spurious, S-P-U-R-I-O-U-S. So what I will do, I will go, I will see where my S starts. Then I will search where P is coming after S. Then when U is coming after that. After all, I will reach to that word, spurious. Okay, and in front of that, at least 2 to 3 meanings of that will be written in front of that. Okay, so we searched by a key known as spurious, and whatever meanings they are given there, those are its value. Those are values, right? Similarly, in the mango case, mango is a key by which you searched, and its price is its value. I hope you get an idea what is a dictionary. So dictionary is a combination of key value pairs. So anything you want to search, you will be searching with the help of its key. In dictionary, you will be searching anything by its value of its key. Okay. So how we create a dictionary? There are different ways to create a dictionary. See, for example, my dictionary name is D. So one way of creating dictionaries, again, these curly brackets, very much like set, curly bracket. But now you will enter the things, in form of key value pairs. And there is a rule while you are creating your dictionary this way. Remember, keep keys to be immutable type. Keeps to be immutable type. And most probably 99% you will see keys with the name string, because a string is immutable. Okay, so how will you enter the things? For example, I entered a thing, let example X is the key. Okay, so I put in quotes, that makes it is a string. So always we will be entering our keys like this way, because we need to be immutable. Then your value can be a single value or multiple. For example, it can be a single, it can be a name as well, like Praveer. Okay, it can be a number like 2. It can be a tuple like 3, 4. It can be a list like 1, 2, 3, 4. So anything it can be stored. For simplicity, right now I'm storing only one value. Let's say 1. This is one key value pair. Okay, this is one. Next key value pair. Next key value pair is suppose y. Y is the key, and its value is, suppose say I put my name Praveer. Okay. So as I told you, value can be anything. A value can be anything you want to put. This is one way to create. I'll create it and I will check the D and see it has been created with this X equal to 1, Y equals to Praveer. Perfect. But if you ask me personally, I don't create it this way. It takes longer time. It takes very longer time. So thus there is a shorter way. There is a shorter way of doing that. How I will create D equals to, see properly, I'm putting a bracket. In bracket, I'm typing X equal to 1, comma, Y equals to Praveer. X equal to 1, Y equals to Praveer, and means like in a tuple format, but it's not a tuple. In tuple, we don't put like this equal to sign or something like that. So I put X equal to 1, Y equals to Praveer, and just before that, use the keyword dict. Use the keyword dict. Okay, so let me name it D1. Let me name it D1 so that we can see. And let me run this cell and check D1. Okay, this way it is created very fastly in comparison to this way. It's entirely up to you how you want to create. You want to create using curly braces and type key, value, key, value, key, value. At the beginning stage, you can do that. Once you become an expert, don't worry, you won't do that. You will use this way. This is the quickest way to write your list. Sorry, write your dictionaries. I hope it is okay with everyone.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Perfect, perfect. Okay. So now see, suppose I want to access this element. How to access the list? How to access the dictionary? I'm sorry. How to access the dictionary? Okay. So these are accessed with the help of keys, not indexes. There's nothing like indexes here. Here, everything is key with the help of key. Suppose I want to access this Praveer. I want to access this Praveer. Okay. So what is the key of Praveer? See, Y. What is the key of Praveer? Y. So what I will do? This is my D or D1, anything you can call. Both are same. D is same as well as D1 is same. So I'm typing D. Square brackets. Whenever I'm accessing something, we always put square brackets. Remember, we always put square brackets. So D, and within that bracket, pass the key. What is the key of Praveer? Y. Okay, and check it. We get Praveer. Is it fine? So how will we access any element of the dictionary? With the help of its
Key.
remember. Now move further. Suppose I want to add an element to this dictionary. I want to add an element. Add a key value pair. Add a key value pair to dictionary. Okay. So what you have to remember, just you have to remember what is the name of the dictionary. So we know the name of the dictionary is D. Okay. So all right now we know that D has only two elements. Which one? X and Y. Okay. I want to add a new element to this. So what I have to do in square brackets, first of all, I have to type that key only. But just remember, the name should be same. The name of the dictionary that you want to add an element to should be same as to original dictionary. So D is the name. I want to put the key name Z. Okay, I want to put the key name Z and that value to be, let's say 5. Value of that to be 5. Just this thing you have to do. Type done and check D now. It will have 3 elements. X value 1, Y, Praveer, Z how easy you can update your dictionaries. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Is it okay, everyone, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, I want to remove it. Suppose I want to remove it. Okay. As simple as that. I want to remove Z. I have inserted Z. I want to remove the Z. Remove an element. How can I do that? Simple. Use the keyword del. Use the keyword del. Very much like we use in the list as well. Remember? Same. And it's key. Like this. That's it. And run it. Okay. And now check D. Z has gone. Is it fine? Is it fine, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now suppose, okay, my X has 1 and Y has Praveer. Suppose I forgot, okay, Praveer is not, should not be there. I want to put something else. Somebody said to me, no, why are you mentioning Praveer? He has left the college, put somebody else's name. He's not there. Okay. So how can I do that? Very simple. Again, take your dictionary name, take your key name, and whatever new name you want to put or new value you want to put. You want to put a number, you can put a number. For example, I press Rama. That's it. And check it. Run it and check the. See, it has been easily changed. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sure, everyone. Okay with it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm moving ahead again. So I have a dictionary with D, 1, and Y. Okay. Suppose I want to check how many elements my dictionary is having. So we always have a function, len function. It works everywhere almost, right? Everywhere it is working. So I'm putting D here. It will show me 2 value, right? Checking the length of dictionary. So it will check how many key value pairs are there. With the help of this, I can return easily. Now, coming to one important thing, which is very, very important. Suppose I'm doing a looping on the same. I'm doing a looping. Let's do looping on the dictionary. Looping on the dictionary. Okay. So what I can do, suppose I type for, I don't know what it will return. Right now, suppose I don't know what it will return. So I'm typing for X because I can, normally it's a loop variable. So I can give it a name I want, but I will change it later on. X in my dictionary D. Okay, my dictionary D colon. I just want to see what actually it will give me. So let me type X, print X here. Okay, and let's see what it returns. So can anybody tell me what it is returning me?
Keywords.
Yes, it is returning keys. If I'm using this way, it will return me keys only. Is it fine, everyone? Is it fine? So if I'm using for loop this way,
Yes, sir.
it will return me keys only. So X is not a proper word. What should be the proper word here? So that everybody who reaches this will be able to understand. For key in D, right? And print key. Now it looks good. So whenever somebody reads your code, he will be get, okay, it's key. You're trying to get key from this. Okay, this is the better way to understand. If you don't know first time, just run it and see what it is doing and accordingly update it. Okay, so suppose I want to access a element, the value as well. Can I do that? I know this method, it will do return the key. Can I access, can I print here a key and the value as well, or individual value as well, only value? Can I do that from same data? Can I do that? I want to access value, it is returning me key. Can I get the value? Very easy thing. See, it is returning me the key, X and Y. And we know, once we know the key, we can access that element by putting the key inside this D. So what I can do here for key in D, simply, sorry, again, I'm doing a mistake. It didn't copy, I guess. Control C and Control V. Okay. What I mentioned here, what is my dictionary name? D. Just put key inside. So you'll get the value. That's it. See, as simple as that. Right or wrong? Please tell me. This is the way to access element now. Remember, told you how to access.
Yes,
Just
sir.
put key inside. Just put key inside. Okay. So we know it will return me the key. So if I put D inside key, if I want to see both the things, key and value, just pipe key, comma, means we want to see key as well as the value. Like this. You will get key, value, key, value. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's move ahead. There are other methods also. I'll come to that very soon. Let me show you something for, I don't know what it will return. So let me do that. X in D dot keys. Okay. D dot keys. D dot keys. Okay. The name itself is telling what it is going to return, but doesn't matter. I don't know what it will return. So print X. See, so means these two are exactly identical, right? So if you only want to access your keys, you are damn sure you need keys only. Simple, either use D only or you can put D dot keys. In case I want to access values only. Okay, so there is similar to keys, we have a function. Similar to keys, we have a function values, means method rather, that is the proper word for the same. There's a method known as values, Control C, Control V. So D dot values. Okay, so what it will return? It will return the values only. Can you see that? Yeah, please run it. See, is returning the same values. So you can do that. So better here we what we place? We played for value. In D dot values print value. I hope you are getting an idea. Right? Similarly, instead of this, better place key. So let me rerun this cell. Okay, and rerun this cell. So different ways of accessing the same thing. Even if you don't know the function, means you don't know there is a function exists like keys and values, still you can access that. Why? This way. And this is the quality of a good programmer. They don't stuck on the predefined functions. They try and explore. They try and explore. They try and explore. Okay, how can I achieve that? How can I achieve that? Okay. Next, is it clear, everyone? Please tell me till this point.
Yes, sir.
Okay. There is one more method inside this is that, for example, I put nothing. I don't know what it will give me. So let me put for X in D dot items. D dot item again is a method. Print X. See what it will return. It is going to return a dictionary object in form of tuple, combination of key value pairs. Let me run this and you will see that. Can you see that? It returned me, what it returned me? A tuple. This is a tuple, key value. This tuple, key value. That means in every iteration, X will be a tuple. Right or wrong? X will be a tuple. So D dot items will return me a tuple in every iteration. That's why for first iteration, I'm getting key value as a tuple. Second, I'm getting key value as a tuple. Okay. And if you want to access them individually, you can easily do that. How? Remember tuple unpacking concept? We can unpack the tuple. So what I can do here, instead of X, I know it is going to return a key. Sorry, it is going to return a tuple. And tuple will have first element as key and second element as value. So instead of X, I'm unpacking here itself. Key, sorry, what I'm typing here. I'm typing here key, comma, value. For key, comma, value. So I directly unpacked here. So first value will be X, second value will be 1, means key will be X, value will be 1 in first iteration. In second iteration, key will be Y, value will be R. So if I want to print here, I can type key, comma, Y. So in first iteration, X will be printed and 1 will be printed. Next iteration, Y will be printed and Rama will be printed. Please check. Is it fine? Please see properly and tell me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please, everyone, please. And actually, we are dealing with a lot of things. So only thing that can make you expertise is practice. Only thing. So that's why I normally share my sheet with you so that you can keep this sheet aside. Don't run it. Keep it aside. Open a new notebook with you, and whatever I type here, type it by yourself. Don't rerun the cells, because until you type yourself, you won't get anything. Looking at this looks like it's very easy, can be done in fraction of seconds until you do yourself. It's very much like mathematics only, right? Mathematics is very easy to study if you put your head on the bed, leg on the wall, and read by the books. It seems very easy, everything. And once you start writing in the examination, everything we forget until we practice. Same thing is with the programming. Okay, so let's move to some other methods of dictionaries. So I have a dictionary D, which is having the value X and Y. Suppose I want to remove all the elements of this. So what I can do, I can type clear. Okay. And clear will remove all the elements from the dictionary. You can check D here. See, I get an empty dictionary. Okay, so you want to remove all the elements. Get the D. Okay, items we have studied already. What the items will return, what keys will return, what values will return. We have already seen that. So 4 methods we have seen. Let's see one more method. Let's say d.get method. D.get method is there. And if I remember, it needs 2 arguments from you. One is key, second is value. Okay. For example, why it is used? It is used, for example, I want to know what is the value of item, value of an item whose key is, let's say, X. Okay. Let me put it there. Let me put it there. Okay. Let me put it an X. Let me put an X. So what it will give me, what is the value corresponding to this X? Let me run this. It didn't give me anything. Why? Why it didn't give me anything? Let me read its definition. Let me save it in the variable known as S, and let's check it. Okay. And let me get the value of S. It's not doing anything. X is there. Why it is showing like this way? D.get. Oh, sorry. Why it will go? We just remember what's
We
happening.
cleared them.
Yes, we
We
cleared
cleared
everything.
the D.
Yeah, yes. We just cleared everything. That's why we're not getting anything, right? So let me create that. Yes. So let me create that. X, D is equal to, again. Let me run this, remove this cell. Okay. Now see, if I run this and I want to save it anywhere, it's up to me. Let me run this and check the S. The value of X is 1. Okay. Now it has 2 arguments. One more argument. If X is not there, then what value you want? Let me show you. Let me go inside and press Shift and Tab. Can you see? Return the value for key if it is in the dictionary, else default. Else default. Okay. If you don't put, it won't give you anything. For example, let me check Z. Z is there or not. Let me remove S from here. We don't need it anywhere. Anyway, let me get Z. Z is not there. Okay. Run this. Nothing happens. Perfectly fine. But suppose here I put, if you don't find anything, just put not found, so that people may come to know nothing is there, right? Let me run it. Can you see that? It returned me not found. It returned me not found. So it's optional. If you don't put it, doesn't matter. If you don't put it, means if you do like this, d dot get, and simply if element is there, you want to know x, yes, it is there, it will return that way. If I use d dot get again, and this time I'm pass an element which is not there, z, if it won't do anything. But if you want something to return, put it here. Means if it is not available in your dictionary, you want to do something. For example, you may find some, for example, something like that. You are searching, you have used Microsoft Excel or what? When we want to search a particular word, we press Control plus F, right? To find everything or find all. When we type anything, it finds, then it indicates, okay, these are the elements available. If not available, what it does, it gives you a notice, not found, right or wrong? Right? It indicates not found, means you put a key there. I want to search this term, but that is not available there. Same way, if you want to use it in your programming, your own programming, means if the element is not there, I want to make a decision. I want to make a decision. Okay, this is the case. It's not available there. Let me put it there. Are you getting my? For example, take an example. You are in a classroom, and every day we are getting some admissions. Okay, you regularly update your dictionary. Regularly update your dictionary. Add element, add element, add element. Name, like name, everything you are updating. Somebody new came. But what happens, same day some teacher changed, a new teacher came to your classroom. He doesn't know your name has been added or not. Your name has been added or not, right? So one way is that he will put your name in the get method. You will put your name in the get method. Ideally, what should happen? It should indicate you that he's not available, right? He's not in the list. So at least he can make a decision, means he can update his dictionary. He can update his dictionary. For that scenario, it is very good. Right or wrong? Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So you must understand that, right? Similarly, suppose what is happening here. I want to update my dictionary. I have a dictionary already, let's say. I have d dot update. The moment we were talking, I got a decision that not found. Perfectly fine. I want to update it. I want to update my dictionary. D dot update. Okay. And an update, I want to put that Z. You can do that thing in the if condition as well, right? You can do the same thing with the help of if condition. It's entirely your choice how you want to do that. Z, and suppose name, the new person who joined is Abhay. Okay. So I am passing a dictionary here. I'm passing a dictionary here at complete. So what will happen? Let me run this and let me check the D here. Can you see? It has been updated. Okay. So in update method, you have to put a dictionary, and that dictionary will be added to your original dictionary. Okay. Simple. He got an idea from this place. Okay, this is the case. Not found is there. I have to update him. I updated him. So now my dictionary is complete. Right? Is it
Yes.
fine? Okay. This is one more way. There is one more way. We are using two methods. First, I'm getting get, give me index. Then I see not found. Then I am updating. Then is one more thing I can do with that to save that time. What? That is D with dictionary name dot set default. Okay. Same way I'm doing. Now suppose I want to search Y. I want to search Y. Then Y is already there. Suppose I want to search X, Y, Z. We have taken suppose W. Okay. If W is there, I want to see his value. If W is there, I want to see his value. This W is the key, right? I want to see his value. I want to see his value. If W is not there, I want it to be updated in the list. Oh, sorry, in the dictionary. I want it to be updated in the dictionary. Instead of returning, then I will update it. I want to do everything in the same space. Means if W is there, please tell me its value. The value will be shown here, right? If he's not there, let me show you an example of that. Let me press X here and type. Okay. So it returned me the value corresponding to X is 1, right? But what I want to check W is there or not. If W is not there, I want to save it in the dictionary. I want to update my dictionary at the same time, but not in two commands. Okay. This time, suppose I want to save W corresponding to a number. Let's say a number. Number is, let's say, 10. Okay. If W is not there, then I want key of W to be W and this value to be 10. Let me run this. Okay. Now let's check D. Please check. W has been updated along with this value inside your original dictionary. Is it fine, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So if you recommend, if your data updates frequently, then this is a better option. Then doing in 2 steps means d.get or something, then d.update, right? If you data updates frequently, better go with this. This is an easier method to update your dictionary. Okay. There is one more method, d.pop method. Okay, and see its definition, shift and tab. Okay, what it does, it has an element k, means you will put a key here. It will remove the specified key and return the corresponding value. Right? See, it's properly what it is saying. Remove the specified key and return the corresponding value. If the key is not found, D is written if given. Otherwise, key error is raised. For example, I just added this W. I didn't mention anything. I just wanted to remove W. That's it. So I just passed W here. It will return its value, which can be saved anywhere. This can be saved anywhere. 10. It will return that and remove this element from the dictionary. See, return, which can be saved anywhere, and check D now. It won't have these entries, W and 10. Okay, but if you try to find out an element which is not there, it will show a key error. Let me try to find out X, Y, Z are there. Let me search Q. It will show a key error. Okay, but you don't want your system to halt. You don't want the system to halt. The same way we did earlier, what we can do, Q means we are saying if Q is there, please remove it. Return me its value. If not there, at least tell me. So I'm typing here whatever I want to do. If you can even put a number here, it's up to you. You can put a number here and say not available. Okay, so let me run this. You can see that. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Everyone, please confirm. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, last thing that we are coming for today is, remember, we studied list comprehension. Okay. This is interview question as well, what I'm going to discuss. Remember? What was list comprehension? A simpler way of writing, a simpler way of deriving a list from an existing list, right? This was the case. A simpler way of deriving a list from an existing list. That was nothing but list comprehension. But if you see properly, what is the syntax of list comprehension? It was like this. Whatever list you want, suppose we start with the square brackets, and the square brackets we write like this: expression for anything, item in items, like this. Of course, it is going to create a list for me. Or if you can put, if condition you want, you can put that. If item greater than 6 or something, it's entirely your choice. That's optional. But if you see it properly, this is the something you already know. What is this? This is a for loop, right? This is nothing but a for loop. And for loop to work, here you want a iterable. Here you want a iterable means it can be a list, it can be a tuple, it can be a anything you want, any iterable you want. You just saw. You can even iterate over that one as well. Your dictionary. You just saw that, right? So any iterable you want here. So what is happening in the list? It may be asked, list comprehension, can we create new list only from the list? So your answer will be Please tell me. In interviews, they may ask you list comprehension. You will define as a creating new list from the already existing list is known as list comprehension. They will immediately point you out. Okay. Have you studied for loop? You will say, of course, sir, yeah, I have studied. Please see the syntax of your list comprehension. What it is? It stays for item and items. That means you will iterate over items. You will iterate over items means here any iterable can come. Any iterable can come here. Not mandatorily that it has to be list. Remember that. But output will always be the list for sure because we have put it this square brackets. 100% the output of this comprehension will be guaranteed to be list. But as it is using for loops, so items can be any iterable over which you can iterate. Are you getting my point? What I'm saying?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
So like we discussed that it is a simpler way of deriving a list from existing list.
Yes, exactly.
Sir,
Right.
can we relate this with inheritance?
No. Inheritance actually is different. It's a oops concept. Inheritance
Okay,
means inheritance basically comes from that. For example, uh, let's say I am parents, right? I'm a parent. So what happens?
yes,
Some people used to have hereditary of a hair fall, right?
yes,
Right. And when their child grows up, they also incorporate those characteristics,
yes, yes,
right? So this is inheritance. And same thing happens when you are deriving an object from a class. Right?
yes.
So of course you will have this attributes of this class. You will have attributes of this class. Okay, don't worry, we'll cover oops concepts. I'll tell you that. But you got an idea what is inheritance, right? You got
Yes,
an
sir.
idea. So whenever we are driving, for example, driving a subclass from a class, so we will have an inheritance from that. Something will be coming for sure to us,
Okay, sir.
always coming from us. So that is inheritance. Okay. So is it fine? You got an idea what do you mean by that? So output of list comprehension will always be what? Options.
List.
Option. Remember, always list. Always list. Output will always be a list. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. Always it is going to be a list. But condition comes. Normal definition is this one. When we are deriving a list from an existing list is nothing but a list comprehension. But understand, go to the for loop and see what it is saying. So immediately things should come to me. Okay, sir, why this is happening? This is iterable. We are creating a list. Of course, we are creating a list. It is always going to be a list. But here, only list doesn't matter. You can put any iterable here. Any iterable. For example, let me create that. You can understand an idea. Suppose I'm creating a new list. My list name is okay, equals to expression. I will write the expression later on. For I'm taking item, and this time instead of a list, I can take a list for sure. I can take any iterable. Suppose iterable is Praveer. Okay, and what I want to do on what will happen? This is an iterable. This is an iterable. So individually, this P will be taken and become the value of item. R will be taken, become a value of item. A will be taken, become a value of item. So whatever I want to do with the P or R or A, that's up to me. For example, what I want to do before every element, I want to put a star like this. Or concatenation, I want to do, suppose I put a star, this, then concatenation. Okay. Then original element, that is item. Again concatenation. Let's say again a star. Okay, something like this. I want this, and I will close them in a square brackets. So what I will get, can anybody tell me what output I'm going to get? Anyone? What item? What value of my list I will get? Remember,
Star,
this is
P star,
yes, then comma, then
then
again
comma,
star, R
then
star,
again
then
star, R
comma.
star.
Yes, simple as that, right? Let me run this. Sorry, in list, what mistake I did? Can anybody check? output. Okay, fine. Sorry. Up at the top I have done. I have to
I-
comment it. Yeah, Ani, I had to comment it. I didn't comment it. That's it. Nothing else. Okay. You can check my list. Please check. Right. So output guaranteed is to be list. Output guaranteed is to be list, but here I can place any iterable. Remember that in mind. And trust me, your interviewer will definitely first he will ask you what is list comprehension. The moment you answer, okay, sir, it is deriving a new list from the existing list. Okay, he will say, okay, can't we put this thing in place of iterable? Immediately the same question will shoot to you because he will this way he will check your understanding of looping as well. So in one question, that's why they ask list comprehension. In one question, they check your knowledge of two things. One, your list theory. You know the list or not, you know iteratable or not, at the same time you know looping or not. That's why I said list comprehension is most commonly asked question. Is it fine, everyone? So
Yes, sir.
always, if you don't want to make him fall into that, answer this way, sir, a list comprehension is a way of deriving a new list from an existing list or any other iterable. Is it fine? He will not ask you further for sure, guaranteed.
Yes.
Okay, put this way, it is a new way, it is a method of deriving a new list from an existing list or any other iterable. He will not ask you second question for the for loops. Immediately you will be through, at least for that question. Okay, but similarly you have list comprehension, you can do dictionary comprehension. Same way you can do dictionary comprehension. Instead of this, just place example. Let me take it. Okay, I said my dict, it is my dict, my dictionary. Instead of these square brackets, place curly braces. Instead of that, place curly braces. So what it will make? It will make a dictionary. But how it will look like? See, for dictionary, you will say, sir, we need key value pairs. So what will be key? Key will be your item. This one, P. See, let me run this and you will see that. Run this, you'll understand automatically. I have nothing to tell you. Please check it. What just happened right now? Is it a list? It's a dictionary? Please
Set,
tell me.
sir.
It's not a dictionary right now. Okay, see properly. That's what I want to check you. It's a dictionary or not, or it is something else.
Set, sir.
Yes, it is a set,
Set.
right? It's a set, but I want to convert it into the dictionary. It's a set right now. It's a set right now. Okay, so means this comprehension can be expanded to sets as well. We get it? We can use to create sets as well. But if I want to make this as a dictionary, then before that, remember, this is the thing available. Just type item. This is your item, right? On the this is what you are dealing with, means you are modification, whatever modification you are doing on that item only, right? Type item and press colon here. Let it be like this so that you can understand. Otherwise, you'll get a good idea. Yeah, that's change. Doesn't matter. Let me put item colon. Just put a colon here. Just put a colon here. That's it. And now run it. Not run it. Okay. Check it, please. Is it fine, everyone? For every element P, this is the key. The value is this. For next element, that R, this is the key. This is the value. For this, it is the key. It is the value. It is the key. It is the value. It is the key. It is the value. And maximum people, where they get confused, remember, they put these braces and they get confused. It is a symbol of for both the sets as well as dictionary. Okay, so remember that thing. For the dictionary to work, we need key value pairs. If I remove that, simple this, it will turn into, it will get turned into
Set.
set. Remember that. Okay. If I want to convert it back into the dictionary, just press item dot colon. That's it. And it will do for you. Okay. So same thing you can apply to the sets as well. Same thing you can apply to this as well. Is it fine, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And trust me, this question about dictionary comprehension very rarely people ask, because it is being not taught. As far as I have interacted with various people, they rarely consider this thing, because actually a special case, it is nothing but a special case of dictionary list comprehension. Special case only. So we just made this square brackets instead of list. I make it dictionary. So I place simple this thing. But if I am placing just this thing, it will make it a set. Okay, just set. So if I want to convert into the dictionary, what do you have to do? You have to put, remember, necessary this thing. It is mandatory. Item colon, or whatever name you have given here, whatever name you have given here, same name needs to be appear here. That's it. And put a colon necessary. Otherwise, you will get a set for sure. Is it fine? Let me take any other iterable as well. Let me take any other iterable instead of string. Let me create one more mydict. This time, suppose expression I will decide later. Let me take a range function here. Okay. Let me take a range function and put a value 5 here. It's also an iterable, everyone knows. It generates number from 0 to 4. It generates number from 0 to 4. Okay. Same thing I can do. Whatever I suppose I want to do square of every item element. Okay. Every item element. So how will I write for dictionary item? If I want to create a set, I will simply type item to the power 2. If I want to create a set, suppose this is my set. Let's say I will just put expression that I want to evaluate. Do that, run that, and check my set. Right? See, 0 to 4 number it will generate. 0 square will be 0, 1 square will be 1, 2 square will be 4, 3 square will be 9, 4 square will be 16. Okay. But I can convert it into the dictionary by using one simple modification. What it can be? What it can be? Remember? What I have to type here? Tell me.
Item colon.
Item colon.
Yes, item colon. That's it. Nothing more. That's it. And it will be getting converted into the dictionary. My dictionary. My dictionary. My dict one. Okay. So I'm running it and check my dict one. See, now it will generate number 0 to 4. Remember? So 0 will become the key for this. 1 will become key for this. 2 will become key for this. 3 will become key for this. 4 will become key for this. I hope you get clear-cut idea about the dictionaries.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think you will be able to use it properly, because it is going to come into the picture, especially in the pandas. When we will be creating small data sets, then it will be required. Dictionary will be required, list will be required. These are very, very important things. Any doubt in today's class? Anyone, please? Any doubt, even single doubt? Okay. So if I ask you a definition now, define me what is list dictionary list comprehension. So how will you define? Or I will ask you, define the dictionary comprehension. How will you define? As simple as that. Simple. Better if you are asking for dictionary, what is it? Normally in the for loop, the term after comes within is known as iterable. Right? Remember that. So if somebody is asking list comprehension, use proper term deriving new list from an existing list, or any other iterable. That's it. I hope the things are clear with everyone. Okay. Very soon we are going to start our data analysis part as well. Only few things are remaining. So most probably next week we'll start our machine learning journey. I'll try to start from next week, because we have to end it by October last, I guess, right? So it will be ending for sure. If it doesn't end, don't worry. I'll take classes on Saturday, Sunday as well. I hope people don't have any problem in that. Okay. So if needed, I'll take classes on that. Doesn't matter, because I'm not in hurry that I have to finish at any cost, so that I have taken the money for 6 weeks, nothing like that. the things by matter to me, whatever I'm delivering to you, that should be in your brain so that you remember me all the time. That is the main thing. Okay. It's fine, everyone. Should I close for the day?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
thanks everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks.
sir. Good night, sir.
Good night. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good night. Good night, everyone.